Hi guys, I'm going to interview Dr. Tariq Wakani. He's a cardiologist and cardiovascular disease specialist. He's been practicing from past 20 years. He is MD, FR, CPC, MRCP, FACC. I don't even know half of the stuff, but that's a lot. That means he's a knowledgeable guy, and he's the right person who can give us more knowledge about circulatory system. So let's have a talk with him and get some more knowledge. So hi Tariq.
Yeah, hi Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, not bad.
So Tariq, I would like to get some more information on cardiovascular. So what are the main components of cardiovascular?
The main components of cardiovascular would be, as the name signifies, is cardiac and vascular. So cardiac would be heart, and the vascular would be the vascular tree, which goes to the brain, to the kidneys, and to the peripheral circulation. So the cardiovascular disease is the commonest ailment globally, and certainly in the Western world, and it affects the people in terms of causing a heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and peripheral arterial disease.
So what would you recommend people making changes in their lifestyle?
And I think that's a very important question, because if this is the commonest and the biggest killer for the human mankind, you need to do something to reduce your risk. So the cardiovascular disease is based on risk factors, and we educate people to reduce their risk by controlling the blood pressure, lifestyle modification, exercise, eating right, and looking after themselves. And that clearly reduces the risk of having a heart attack and stroke.
So do you think any kind of food might be affecting?
Sure, food plays a big component. So high fatty fried food will increase your cholesterol, and that increases your risk of heart attack and stroke. So we emphasize a lot in patients who did have a heart attack, or in people who have not had a heart attack and would like to have a healthy lifestyle. We always recommend eating healthy all the time.
Okay. So could you give us more numbers, how many people are affected?
And that's a very interesting question, and I was just looking at some of the data before you came to my office. So it's pretty scary. About 600 people die of heart disease in U.S. every year. This is 1 in every 4 deaths. So that's very significant. So as I said, it's the commonest killer, and it's not only in the Western world, it's actually globally, and it does increase your health cost and health burden. So if I give you some numbers for Canada, so the direct cost in Canada for cardiovascular disease will be about 6.8 billion per year. So 6.8 billion is only the direct cost, which is the cost of hospitalization for the patients coming and seeing the doctors, and the cost of medication. The indirect cost, which we assess by people not going to job or having morbidity that they can't work, is another 12 billion. So it's a very costly disease. So it's a disease that kills people, and it's also a very costly disease, and increase the burden in the health system. And for that reason, it's very important that one has to reduce those risks and reduce heart disease and stroke.
So in past 20 years, the patients you looked after, so did you see any particular disease in cardiovascular disease affecting most of the people?
Well, heart attack is very common, and the second is stroke. So if you combine heart attack and stroke, it's actually more common than people dying of cancer. So it's the commonest killer, combining heart attack and stroke. So heart attack is very common. And as I said, 600,000 people in the U.S. is having heart disease or having heart attack or heart disease and die from it every year, that's a pretty significant number. And every year, 935,000 Americans have heart attacks. So dying is higher, having heart attack is higher. So I would say heart attack is actually the most important thing.
Okay. Thank you, Tariq. Thanks for your time.
Anytime.
Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
the knowledge you shared with us.
Anytime, and if you need more information, come back.
Thank you.
Pleasure.